When Barron Trump stepped onto the stage during his father's inauguration, no one could have predicted the moment that would soon unfold. The youngest son of former President Donald Trump had largely stayed out of the spotlight, maintaining a low profile throughout his father's campaign and presidency. Known for his quiet demeanor and reserved nature, Barron had often been a subject of curiosity, but that day he made an impression that no one could ignore. As the inauguration ceremony progressed, all eyes were on the Trump family. Dressed in a tailored suit, Barron stood alongside his family with a poise and maturity beyond his years. While the day was historic for many reasons, what truly captured the attention of those present, and later the world, was Barron's unexpected moment of courage and composure. During a brief pause in the ceremony, a sudden hush fell over the crowd. It was then that Barron stepped forward, his expression calm yet resolute. He held the microphone firmly, glancing at his father, then the audience. What followed was a moment of raw authenticity and profound impact. Barron began to speak, his voice steady and clear. He expressed gratitude for the opportunity to be present on such an important day, but his words quickly turned to something deeper. He addressed the challenges and divisions the country faced, not with the typical rhetoric one might expect, but with the perspective of someone who had seen the weight of leadership up close. His message was not one of politics, but of unity, understanding, and hope. He spoke about the importance of coming together as a nation, regardless of differing opinions. He acknowledged the struggles of families across America, touching on themes of compassion, resilience, and the power of community. His words were simple, yet profound, resonating with a truth that transcended political lines. The sincerity in his tone and the clarity of his message left the audience captivated. What made this moment so striking was not just the content of Barron's speech, but the way he delivered it. He spoke with a sense of authenticity that many found refreshing. It wasn't rehearsed or scripted. It felt as though he was speaking from his heart, sharing thoughts that had been weighing on his mind. In that moment, the young boy many had, overlooked, became a symbol of hope for the future. As he finished speaking, the room remained silent for a few seconds. The weight of his words seemed to hang in the air, leaving everyone in attendance reflecting on what they had just heard. Then, applause broke out, growing louder and more heartfelt with each passing moment. Even those who had been critical of his father's administration couldn't help but acknowledge the maturity and wisdom Barron displayed. The reactions from the public were immediate and overwhelming. Clips of his speech began circulating on social media, drawing praise from people across the political spectrum. Many commented on how his words offered a rare glimpse of optimism and unity during a time of division. Others praised his courage for speaking up at such a young age, especially in such a high-pressure moment. In the days following the inauguration, Barron's unexpected speech became a topic of conversation worldwide. News outlets analyzed his words, commentators speculated on the impact of his message, and countless people expressed admiration for his ability to rise to the occasion. Some even began to view him as a potential leader in the making, someone who might one day carry the mantle of public service in his own unique way. Barron himself remained humble and private, as always. Those close to him described him as someone who values authenticity and connection over attention and fame. While the world may have been surprised by his speech, those who knew him well were not. They spoke of a young man who had always been thoughtful, introspective, and wise beyond his years. The moment was a reminder that sometimes the most unexpected voices can bring about the greatest impact. Barron Trump's words on that day didn't just make headlines, they touched hearts and inspired hope. For a brief moment, he reminded everyone that despite differences, there is always room for understanding and unity. And so, while his father's presidency would be remembered for many things, that day at the inauguration, Barron Trump made his mark in a way no one could have anticipated. It was a moment that would not only define him in the eyes of the public, but also serve as a testament to the power of authenticity, courage, and hope. The impact of Barron's words didn't fade as the days turned into weeks. Across social media platforms, hashtags related to his speech began trending, with millions sharing the clip of his heartfelt message. People from all walks of life, regardless of political affiliation, found themselves moved by his sincerity. It wasn't just the speech itself that resonated, it was the fact that someone so young had the wisdom to speak about unity in a way that felt genuine and unifying. Prominent figures began to weigh in as well. Politicians, celebrities, and thought leaders commended Barron for his courage. Many remarked that his message served as a reminder of what truly matters, especially during a time of national tension. Some even called for more young voices to be heard, saying that Barron's words were a sign that the next generation had the potential to lead with empathy and understanding. Schools and organizations took notice too. Teachers played clips of Barron's speech in classrooms, using it as an example of how anyone, regardless of age, can make a difference. Youth groups discussed his message in meetings, reflecting on how they could apply his call for unity in their own communities. For many young people, Barron became an unexpected role model, showing that standing up for what you believe in doesn't require a title or position. It simply requires courage and a voice. The global reaction was equally significant. International. Media outlets covered the moment extensively, highlighting how Barron's speech transcended borders and resonated with people around the world. From Europe to Asia, Africa to South America, his words were seen as a universal call for understanding and togetherness. It became clear that what Barron had said wasn't just relevant to America, it was a message that could inspire people everywhere. However, amidst the praise, there were those who questioned the moment. Some speculated whether Barron's speech had been carefully planned or if it truly was a spontaneous act of bravery. Yet those who had been there in person insisted that the authenticity of the moment was undeniable. The raw emotion in his voice, the way he paused to collect his thoughts, and the genuine reaction of the audience left little doubt that this was a moment born out of pure sincerity. For Barron, life after the inauguration didn't change dramatically. He continued to keep a low profile, avoiding the spotlight as much as possible. But those who followed his story couldn't help but wonder what the future might hold for him. Would he one day follow in his father's footsteps and step into the world of politics? Or would he forge his own path, using his voice in other ways to create change? The answer, for now, remained unclear. But what was certain was that Barron Trump had left an indelible mark on that historic day. His words, spoken with conviction and clarity, had reminded a divided nation and the world of the power of hope and unity. Whether or not he chose to speak out again, his message at his father's inauguration would remain a defining moment, one that people would look back on as a beacon of light during a challenging time. And so, as the world moved forward, Barron's unexpected moment in the spotlight became a part of history. It served as a testament to the idea that sometimes the most profound messages come from the most unlikely voices. Barron Trump may not have set out to change the world that day, but in his own quiet, powerful way, he had made an impact that would be remembered for years to come. As time passed, Barron Trump's speech at his father's inauguration continued to be a topic of discussion, sparking debates and conversations across different platforms. Many felt that his message of unity had been a rare and much-needed moment of humanity amidst the often polarizing nature of politics. It was a reminder that, at the core of every nation, there are shared values that bind people together: family, community, and the hope for a better future. Historians began referencing Barron's speech in their analyses of that era, noting how a young voice had managed to cut through the noise of division. Academics used it as a case study in leadership and communication, pointing out how authenticity and simplicity can resonate far more than the most carefully crafted rhetoric. Some compared it to other iconic moments in history when unexpected individuals rose to the occasion and left a lasting impact. Meanwhile, Barron's words also had a ripple effect on other young people. Inspired by his bravery, teenagers and young adults began speaking out about issues that mattered to them. Social media saw a wave of posts from young people sharing their perspectives, motivated by Barron's example. Youth-led initiatives aimed at fostering dialogue and understanding began gaining traction, with many citing his speech as the spark that inspired them to take action. In the Trump family, the moment became a point of pride. While Donald Trump was often the focus of media attention, even his critics couldn't deny the significance of what Barron had accomplished. Melania Trump, who had always been fiercely protective of her son's privacy, expressed her pride in Barron's courage to speak up in such a public setting. It was a rare glimpse into the close bond the family shared, one that often went unnoticed amidst the chaos of political life. Barron's decision to step forward that day also raised questions about his future. Speculation grew about whether he would eventually enter the public arena in some capacity. Pundits wondered if he might pursue a career in politics, given his unique position as someone who had grown up witnessing the inner workings of leadership firsthand. Others thought he might choose a different path, perhaps one that allowed him to make a difference without the scrutiny of public office. But despite the speculation, Barron remained steadfast in his desire to live a quiet, private life. Friends and family described him as someone deeply thoughtful, with a keen interest in global issues and a genuine desire to understand different perspectives. Those closest to him believed that whatever he chose to do, he would approach it with the same sincerity and integrity that he had shown at the inauguration. Years later, as people reflected on that day, the impact of Barron's speech remained undeniable. It was often replayed during significant anniversaries, a moment frozen in time that reminded people of the importance of listening to the voices of the younger generation. For many, it was a symbol of hope, a reminder that even in the most divided times, there is always the possibility for unity and understanding. And so, the legacy of Barron Trump's unexpected moment in the spotlight lived on. It wasn't about politics or power, it was about the simple truth that sometimes the most meaningful messages come from those who are least expected to deliver them. His words, spoken with authenticity and heart, had resonated with millions, leaving an imprint that would endure long after the day itself had passed. In the end, Barron's speech was more than just a moment in history. It was a call to action, a reminder that anyone, no matter their age or background, can inspire change. It showed the world that hope often lies in the most unexpected places and that the future is shaped by those brave enough to speak up when it matters most.